In the 9 years that I've been cosplaying, I've done a lot of crafting and a lot of soul searching, and unfortunately everything I found I wish I could put right back and forget I ever saw it. Hey y'all, SnarkyJay Cosplay here. Yes, in 2025 I make 9 years of playing dress up, which is probably 9 years too many. I started when I was 16, I turned 25 this year, and to be quite honest, I have no intention of ever stopping. Cosplay is probably one of my biggest passions, I enjoy it a lot. However, in all the time that I've been cosplaying, I have found some interesting trends among cosplayers that I think most of us would definitely not want to address, but I think you guys all know that my takes are pretty hot, and to be honest, I don't know how to be anything but honest. So, in this video, my dog is scratching himself. These are 8 things cosplayers don't want you to know. Number 1, we're all trying to play it cool, but we're actually incredibly uncomfortable. There's something incredibly challenging about trying to translate a concept that exists in fantasy, whether it be a video game or a movie, a comic book, what have you, and move it into something in real life that you can hold, that you can wear. And a lot of these things, if you do manage to actually craft and wear them, should not be worn for 8+ hours at a time, and essentially most of us do wear these things for 8+ hours when we go to a convention. So 90% of the time that you see me at a convention, either my feet are killing me, some part of my body is being squeezed, some part of my body is being jabbed into, some part of my body is actively developing a blister or is being worn out by some piece of leather or something rubbing against it, and my favorite is that I've actually developed not 1, not 2, but 4 different bald spots on different parts of my head that have luckily recovered, thank God, but they have actually developed as a result of wearing wigs for too long because they are too tight and I still have too much hair for wigs. We're gonna pose for the picture and we're gonna try and be cool about it, but realistically, we're suffering. Number 2, clout is currency. And I know that that is something that nobody wants to hear because it's so incredibly petty, but I have seen it firsthand, and unfortunately, I think we're all guilty of it. So most of the time in the cosplay space, a lot of us, what do we want? The holy grail is sitting in a convention at our own table, signing prints, saying hello, shaking hands, kissing babies. A lot of us love that. Personally, I enjoy that almost more than I enjoy making videos because I love meeting folks. For me, it's developed a different sort of perspective where now I do this so that I can meet the people that support me and watch me. But back in the day, I just wanted to feel like one of those cosplayers. I just wanted the hype and the exposure from sitting at my own table and saying, yeah, I'm a guest here. And so the problem with that is it basically means that a large percentage of cosplayers are willing to take on gigs at conventions and other events for completely free because they're hoping for exposure. Clout is one of those things in the cosplay community where people will put aside immature, childish beef. They will put aside their own standards, their own working conditions and expectations for a little bit of clout. And I personally have been guilty of this and have had to learn to sort of stick to my guns a little bit and stick up for myself and determine that currency is currency. Clout does not buy food, nor does it pay rent. Number 3, we are professional time wasters. And I'm aware that there's that saying that time spent enjoying yourself or whatever is not time wasted at all. I'm aware of that. I don't enjoy most of the crafting process. For me, it's just a means to an end. But the problem is that most of cosplay is so time consuming. If you see anything made out of foam, it means I had to resize a pattern or make a pattern. I had to cut out that pattern in paper, then I had to cut out that pattern in foam, then I had to put the whole pattern. I mean, it literally could take you 3 to 5 days to make like a gauntlet for your f***ing arm. You know what I could be doing instead? Learning a new language, teaching myself to code, finding a man. Like, there are any number of things that I could be doing instead of sitting in my house trying to come up with ways to be fake people. I will say briefly that I hate the hustle culture thing that's developed where like any time spent not making money is time wasted. Admittedly, we all need hobbies and this is a big hobby, but all of this takes so long. Number 4, we are terrible at prioritizing our spending. Cosplay is expensive. Cosplay materials are expensive. You know what's even more expensive than buying or making cosplays? Yeah, actually going to the places where you show off these cosplays. Your average convention ticket runs you easily over $100 for the 3 to 4 day pass. Then you gotta worry about the gas, you gotta worry about parking. If you haven't eaten at a convention center, be glad, because 90% of the food is disgusting, and you'll pay $18 for chicken tenders, fries, and a bottle of Dasani. And if you run across one of those little personal Papa John's things, they're slightly better, a little less egregious than convention center chicken nuggets, but it's still $15 for a pizza this big. That's barely even a personal pizza. That's an intimate pizza at this point. And I haven't even mentioned travel and hotel costs. Mother of God, I know people that have shoved 12 adults into a 2-bed hotel room because the hotel was charging like $600 a night. This is an incredibly expensive hobby, and I've been there where my buddy and I are splitting the hotel room cost, and we're like, yeah, so what if we just heated up cup noodles tonight? Yeah, we could split one styrofoam container of cup noodles because we spent all our money on the hotel and then on a couple of keychains in the convention center. Come on, guys, we gotta get it together. Why are you looking at me like that? What the is wrong with you? I'm sorry, y'all. I look at my dog. This is what he's doing. Oh man. Number 5, we're always playing the comparison game. And this is one of those that people hate to admit, and they always say they're not doing it, but we all do it at some point or another. Look, unfortunately, there's only so many characters that exist, right? If you're one of the people that likes to remind me that I'm apparently too fat to be Wonder Woman, well, there are thousands of other cosplayers that probably have way similar suits and might be taller and skinnier. And there's the rub. A lot of us have trouble with that, and we don't like to admit it because at the end of the day, comparison is the thief of joy, right? And we want to go out and feel as good as we can about ourselves, but it's inevitable. You go to a convention and you might have just made your first cosplay, and somebody else is doing that cosplay with way more experience than you and has an objectively better crafted cosplay. Most of us will say it's not gonna get to us, but we are gonna go home contemplating, man, that arm looked better, that wig was better. It's just gonna happen, especially with the advent of social media. I can admit to this, I'll put my big girl pants on. So recently I did a makeup test for Cloud from Final Fantasy VII, and I felt really cute about it until I started looking at other Cloud cosplayers, and I found people with way more anime-centric faces, and they just had the sharper features, and I was like, that sucked. And I had to make an effort and be like, hey, I'm doing Cloud my way, and I had to put that out of my mind. But a lot of us live having to do that. It's really easy to compare yourself to other people. It's not healthy for you. It's also not even healthy for them. We gotta find ways to work around it, but I promise you it's a really big deal. Number 6, and this is a good one for all you fellas that are always saying you want to date a cosplay girl. We're some of the most obsessive people on the planet. Note the amount of hours, the time, the energy, the effort, the money that it takes to produce a cosplay of one of these characters. And sometimes we find some like halfway irrelevant side character and we go, that one. That's the one I'm gonna cosplay. And so we sit there and we're taking screen caps and we're hyperfixating and we're developing like mood boards and idea boards, and our Pinterest is now full of this character. It's almost a problem, if not definitely a problem. It depends who you ask, because at the end of the day, we tend to hyperfixate on characters anyway, because I think most of us in the cosplay community are creatively driven people. We are driven by characters. We love characters. And then once you dive into like, I need to become this character, I need to craft this character, it really just escalates from like hyperfixation to obsession that doesn't really wear off very easily. Take that as you will. Number 7, and I know this is gonna be a tough mirror to look into, 99% of us have severe self-esteem issues. I know for a fact that every time I say things like this, my comment section inevitably gets flooded with people saying that there's no way I feel this way, that there's no way blah, 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 blah. I have no reason to lie about this. In fact, I have more reasons to lie in the other direction, because people don't like being vulnerable on the internet. But to be quite honest, I love being honest with you guys, and I love talking to people, and hopefully something that I say say gets through to somebody someday. I am not always an entirely confident person. I spent most of my adolescence incredibly uncomfortable on camera. I had to figure out that I needed to have photos taken to be a cosplayer, and it took me a lot of effort to learn that I wasn't just a cosplayer, but that I was Jay in cosplay, that I could do other things as myself. Most of us don't want to be ourselves. Most of us want to be photographed as another character. We want to be identified as another character. We don't want to have to face the reality of who we are for whatever reason, honestly. It doesn't always mean some nefarious thing, just some of us are awkward and shy and maybe aren't super confident. Last week, I did headshots because a convention I'm being booked for asked me for them, and I was honestly in a terrible mood thinking about it because I hate standing in front of a camera being photographed as Jay and not as Jay in a Wonder Woman costume. It's incredibly disarming to me, it's uncomfortable, and yeah, like I said, I spend a lot of time talking to the camera here, but when I do this, I feel like the value is in what I'm saying, but in pictures, that's all there is. It's just my face. There's nothing else. There's no words to focus on. All I can give you is me in this photo. That is really nerve-wracking for a lot of people. A lot of us look for that escape. We pull confidence from the characters that we're dressed as. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with any of us. I think we're all just trying our best in this world, but it definitely is something that comes out of wanting to escape our own identities and be somebody else for a few hours. And number 8, and most people hate to admit this, we love attention. I'm aware that saying you like attention is probably the worst thing you could say on the planet. Oh my God, how dare you? I'll admit it. Okay, I like attention. Otherwise, I wouldn't spend most of my days talking into a camera and hoping that somebody clicks a video. I wouldn't play dress up as much as I do, and granted, I think there would still be a certain element of creativity in my life, even if I wasn't sharing it on social media or going to a convention. But all of us like the attention. We want to have our photo taken, and if we go to a con in some obscure thing and nobody asks for pictures, holy shit, that's gonna ruin the whole weekend. You know we're gonna be depressed over some mozzarella sticks at Applebee's later tonight. My God. We want the validation, we want our photos taken, we want the compliments, we wanna hang out with other people. That's what it's all for. Yes, the creativity is the basis of it. But the fact of the matter is that most cosplayers want some form of attention, or they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't post it on social media. We wouldn't go parade ourselves around conventions and take photos with people. That is a driving force of it. And to be completely honest, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying you like attention. It is a fundamental human thing to like being acknowledged, to like being validated and perceived by other people. Don't we all just want our moment in the sun? It's okay. I think we can all admit to this. Well, folks, from a cosplayer that frequently talks way too much and offers too much information, I thought this would be kind of an interesting dive into the psyche behind the cosplayer. These are just 8 things that I think 99.9% of us deal with but wouldn't want to share. But the fact of the matter is that we're all human. Yes, our hobby is a little bit silly, but we enjoy it. There's a creative element, there's a community element, and even though most of us might be a little off kilter, I promise you we mean well, and all we want to do is just celebrate our favorite characters with all of you. And that's all from me. I've been SnarkyJay. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. For more SnarkyJay, be sure to check me out on Instagram, and if you'd like to support me, this channel, and my content creation, do check out and consider subscribing to my Patreon for exclusive photo shoot sets and cosplay content. I'll add links to all of those in the description below, and let me know which one of these 8 things surprised you the most in the comments below.